call to order, we do have a quorum. Any public comment before we get started?
Yes, I do. I can speak. I wanted to address some of the comments made during the previous Commissioners Court and made outside of court. First, Commissioner Stewart, you made the statement you were not for rewarding bad behavior. You insinuated those of us that don't have office hours of 8 to 5 are displaying bad behavior. That was your foundation, along with the majority of the court, for deciding to give some employees a larger raise than others. My office hours are 7:45 to 4 Monday through Thursday and 7:45 to 3 on Friday, which results in a 40-hour work week. I chose these hours because after dealing with customers in my office for almost 16 years, this is the most popular choice of operational hours. I will also remind you that as an elected official, I have the right to choose my office hours. The court discussed adding time clocks, and during this discussion, you, Commissioner Stewart, made the statement that would fix the office hours and employees being paid for a 40-hour work week. My assistant, Georgie, has always worked a 40-plus work week, unless she was on vacation, sick, or absent due to office closures. In fact, that was another reason for creating the office hours I currently have. She had 88 hours comp time in just a 6-month period that she didn't use and wasn't monetarily rewarded for. She has such an outstanding work ethic that in her 15 years as a county employee, she has never used all her PTO or vacation and never abused the 40-hour work week. Yet you want to compensate her with less of a raise than another employee. Commissioner Stewart and Commissioner Martin questioned another elected official why Georgie would need to be at work before 8 since Dexter didn't even open until 8. Well, we don't just walk into our office, sit down at the RTS workstation, and wait on a customer. There are reports from the state that were run during the night hours, along with reports from certified payments that must be processed. We have the task of setting up the cash drawer after completing the closeout for the previous day. There are emails from Texas DMV that require our attention that need to be read preferably before we conduct our first transaction in the RTS system. Besides all this I've just mentioned, we have to clean and maintain our own office. Since COVID-19, we take extra precautions with extra sanitation. We prefer to not be cleaning or running a vacuum cleaner when a customer comes in if we can avoid it. To touch on the comment Commissioner Martin made comparing the employees within the courthouse to the jailers and needing training and certifications, I want to correct your statement and inform you that Georgie, Chad, Monique, and Justin are all required to complete trainings and certification. Assistants in all offices may have to do the same for all I know. In fact, Georgie has spent the last 2 months completing state-required training just so that she will be able to continue serving the customers through our RTS computers. I will conclude this topic with, if you ever are unsure or curious what duties my assistant, Georgie, performs in my office, please come and ask and I'll be glad to enlighten you. I'm going to return to the bad behavior comment and ask a question. If my office displays such bad behavior, why is it that we have people who have bought homes here for their future retirement tell us they're going to go ahead and change their residency to Fisher County because they're so pleased with how we treat them? I guess it's due to my office's bad behavior that a businessman has established his company in Fisher County so that he might conduct his vehicle transactions with us, which, by the way, has generated revenue of $18,261 in this year alone. My office has taken in almost $212,000 since October 1st, 2019, with over $203,000 being allotted to each commissioner's budget, and the year isn't over yet. We strive to serve and accommodate the Fisher County residents and pride ourselves on the work we do and revenue we are able to contribute to our county budget. Lastly, I was informed that Commissioner Stewart commented to my employer at my second job that I didn't get a raise because I work 3 jobs. To set the record straight, I only have 2 jobs, and I wouldn't need a second job if my job here at the county paid enough to accommodate the cost of living. I would think the taxpayers of Fisher County wouldn't have an issue with me seeking employment elsewhere if it didn't affect the county budget and I have completed my daily tasks in my county office. Commissioner Pimpin stated in the last Commissioners Court how the commissioners don't make as much money as others, so I imagine that would justify why each of you have a business of your own that you're operating during the week. I truly believe that all the comments and actions that have conspired over the last few years is due to some that have a patriarchal mindset. And I'm hoping that this will change and that you battling with it will find peace. Thank you.
Thank you, Connie. Anybody else? Before we begin? All right, item number one, certification of occupational classification relating to jailers. Sure.
My understanding was that we had some questions of whether or not whatever raises we gave to the jailers, we should give to Robin, and whether she were considered a jailer or not. She, my mind, she's a jailer. I mean, she has to have all the requirements and whatever, so I believe she should be getting whatever raise the rest of the jailers get.
Could y'all please speak up?
Let me start over.
That wouldn't hurt.
Okay.
I think y'all need to invest in a PA system so we can hear what y'all are actually saying. Is it that hard to talk
Well,
loud enough that we can hear?
We've got a PA coming, so.
It's my understanding that there were some questions of whether or not Robin was considered a jailer in our last court. We were given a raise to the jailers. I wanted to think, I've heard that we need to clarify that, whether or not she's considered a jailer or whether we intended to give her the raise. In my mind, she is a jailer. She does all the training for jailers, and she actually does jailer work when they're shorthanded, I believe, but in my mind, she's a jailer, and my intentions were to give her the same raises as other jailers.
But was that what the motion stated?
I don't think it was what was stated, but it said jailers.
Is she not administrative assistant or
I think the title is
jail administrator?
Sheriff.
As we're often shorthanded over there, she fills in as a jailer quite often,
I mean, she's more than qualified.
more than qualified. Also, to look at is the fact that if she doesn't get this raise, there's no differential in pay between the jailer and the jail administrator. There you go.
I'd like to ask this court to reconsider all the raises.
You can't, you've already done the last step. That's in, we did that last week. We can't make a motion, vote on it, and then y'all decide, sleep on it, go, that's not the bad thing. That should be done way before, that should be done in the discussion process.
I don't think we voted on the budget yet, so. I'm
Voted on the
guessing-
proposed budget, and we can't talk about the budget because it's not on today's agenda. You can adjust it on the 14th when we put it to bed, but we can't talk about the budget today, it's not on the agenda. Anybody else? We need to address, I don't know,
I believe she's a jailer, and I'll make the motion that we include her on whatever raises we give to the rest of the jailers.
I'll second it.
you get that, Michelle? Have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor, raise your hand, please. 3 for, 1 against. Martin voted against. Motion carries. All right, item number 2, Mr. Stewart, discuss raises for road hands.
Well, I think what Johnny Lou and everybody else is complaining about is, has a lot of truth to it. And I think that we really need to reconsider the raises that we've supposedly, proposed. And, we were just, our intentions were to make it easier on elected officials to do their job by getting them, providing them with employees they can keep and give them a bigger raise than what they normally get. It's hard for all of us, it's especially jailers, deputies and road hands, we have a very hard time keeping these employees. And, that was our intentions. Me personally, I don't care what I make, I'm not doing it for the money, and anybody that's elected official that's doing it for the money, I think you're in the wrong place. But
Before y'all decide to vote on that, I want to give you a little information, Becky. Your road foreman's right now, I think, right at $36,000, is that correct, Becky?
Yes, they vary a little bit.
And the elected officials at 39,007, I think. So you're gonna get yourself into a bad situation here if you start paying road foremen more than your elected officials. Just my comment.
Well, elected officials supposed to be doing this for a service to the community too, you know. I know some of them gotta make a living doing it, but we have an obligation to the community, our taxpayers, so I don't have a problem with paying an employee more than I make. And it's been done in the past before also. Our chief deputy used to make more than our sheriff when Mickey Camp was here, so.
I still does, overtime. Sheriff doesn't get overtime. Well, that didn't change.
if you look up that average salary for anybody that runs equipment in office, $18.75. And starting pay for anybody with a CDS, $61,000 a year. We're not even close to anything average. Pretty much every single week when, they would go in the wind tires out there, they, companies would stop my hands and offer them a job for $35 an hour, 60 hours a week. That's about $10,000 a month.
Did they go?
Yeah, some of them did. Two of them lost.
I would've gone.
Lost two of them.
Imagine that.
Yeah, I went 2 months this last pay period without, with one hand.
And that may be the case. We can't take what they're paying in the real world and come and do that.
We gotta be competitive with what people make it.
Well, where are you gonna get the money to do it?
Where are you gonna get the money to pay for your raise on your hand?
It's in the budget, it's done.
Yeah,
Y'all voted on it.
I didn't.
All I'm trying to say, Kevin, is that money is in the budget and we're still up
I
there.
think we made some major mistakes, which everybody up here
I don't think-
upset seems to agree with.
Some employees are gonna get over 16% raise, and we got some employees gonna receive none. And I think that's a huge injustice right there.
I'm not arguing with you. My question is, where are you gonna get the money to do this? Everything that's on here today, every item with the exception of one, we've had budget hearings, we've had meetings, this stuff should have all been taken care of way before now, before the last minute.
That's the reason we probably should have had more
We didn't have
budget
nowhere
hearings.
near enough meetings. We had maybe a third of what we normally
We
had.
should have more information.
I don't disagree with that. But at that budget hearing, when y'all dismiss and y'all wanna leave, we can stay all day. We can open it, leave it open, and come back tomorrow.
Well, we need to talk about it more. We're making big mistakes of what we've got right now on the board. We need to come back next week or whatever we need to.
That
we
you
need to
can't,
put on the board.
you've waited to the last minute, there's a timeline, we cannot do this.
I think you can change the proposed budget.
You can. I'm not arguing that. I'm talking time, we can't have hearings going forward between now and then, because it goes in the newspaper this week, right?
It would have to go in the newspaper.
We're
this
at the
week.
deadline.
Well, to be posted in the newspaper, it said it had to be posted for increase, but if there's no increase, it don't have to be posted, so we can do away with all the raises, can't we?
No, Preston, you can't. Here's the problem you got. The increases, the only increases that have to be posted in the newspaper are the elected officials, right?
That's correct, yes.
So any other raises we've given do not have to be posted in the newspaper. I'm talking about the budget. Y'all voted on our proposed budget. You're right, it is not the final budget. We can handle that on the 14th.
The 14th is our.
Guess we can come back on the 14th and hash this out, then, if there's nothing else we can do with it today.
I agree. I'm just trying to tell you how the way it goes.
I don't think it will pass.
have to
pay our
pass a
bills.
budget.
Yes, we
We're
can't pay our
required by
bills
law
without it.
to pass the budget. It may take 2 days, but we have to do it.
We're gonna have to change it before we can pass it, I think.
I don't disagree with that.
So we can't change it now, but we can change it the day of it? Is that right?
You voted on the proposal, we will be final on the 14th. We can do, we just can't do budget changes today because it's not on the agenda.
When I put this on the agenda, I told you exactly what we wanted to change.
You did, and I had Joy to call and ask you exactly what you wanted on there, and that's what's on it.
I also said, budget considerations too.
I don't think so. Joy,
I
is
so.
she here?
I told you that too.
Yes,
May I
ma'am.
speak? I would just like to say, yes, elected officials, are, here to serve the county, but they're also here to earn a living. A lot of people, they do this job, to pay their bills. It's their job. And so they take their job seriously and they do their job well. And, they put in the hours a week and plus, and make sure that their job is done, accurately. And so, I think that needs to be addressed, that it's not just, people are doing this, they expect to be paid for what they're worth, and a lot of people have been here for a very long time, and, if they left and somebody came in, they would make the same. And see, that doesn't seem right either, because, they need to be, the thing is people need to be valued. We have a lot of elected officials here at the courthouse and in Fisher County that do their job excellent and do their job well. We all make mistakes and we all do things wrong, but the thing is I've been coming to Commissioner Court for a few times now, and I have watched and I see that, there are people here that's very knowledgeable and they're doing their job well. They work hard at it. They've trained for it. They're doing a good job. And we need to reward those people when, you have good quality people. They need to be valued, and they need to feel valued. And I just feel like there's just a lot of strife, a lot of things going on that inhibits possibly even them doing their job as well as they could. And I don't know if I'm even allowed to say this, but I'm going to. I brought it up to the commissioners. I really believe that we need, and the judge, we need to get back to like opening with prayer. Let's open with a prayer. Let's say the Pledge of Allegiances. And I know that seems like a very minimal thing, but it's not. It will set the tone. It will help keep even elected officials, people that are employees here as secretaries, jailers, whatever. It will bring us back to, it will bring us back to the right thing. It will help us to remember, our country, our county, our state. And I just think that that's very important, to set the tone here and that we all work together. I think that's hugely important. So anyways, I just wanted to share that.
Thank you for your comment. Guys, what's the pleasure of the court? My suggestion would be that we table this. We can look at this. I'll make a motion you want.
You got anything else?
Can we not rescind the motion that I made and redo it? Since I made the motion, or is it too late for that?
The reason, to be honest with you, Jordan, I really don't know the answer to that. But what I do know, that's gonna change budgets.
Oh, I know.
And we can't talk about budget now. That's why my suggestion is we move it to the 14th, when we can talk about budgets. That's when we're gonna put it to bed, and everything's in play. We can adjust, we can do whatever.
Oh, I see what you're saying. The budget wasn't even on this today.
Yeah, I think to rescind a motion, it would have to be on the agenda and the public would have to be given notice of that anyway. So maybe the 14th would be better anyway, but we can do that.
I know we can table it and move it to the 14th.
Yes.
So we need to make a motion to table it, move it to the 14th.
That's my
I'll make a
suggestion.
motion to table it, move it to the 14th.
Second.
All in favor? Preston?
Yes.
Unanimous. All right, brings us to item number 3, raises for the deputies. Mr. Arnline?
Probably right now, the raise part of this is the mute point until we meet again, I would presume. It was obvious that my deputies were left out of the raises. This was after the talk of the bad behavior and undeserving. They took that as a slap in the face, because, well, gee, the road hands of the deputies didn't get a raise, that must be who you're talking about. I've got 3 deputies, I'm down 1. The 3 I've got, I really value. They make good decisions. They have to make split-second decisions. And if they make the wrong one, they could be in court, they could be in prison, or they could be in the grave. You've seen it on the national level right now. Those people have had a lot more training than my deputies. It's a decision thing. And I don't want somebody out there that can't make a decision on the spot. So I would like to keep the ones I've got. I just wanted to clarify that they're not the undeserving and the bad behavior. All I've got. You don't have anything?
Maybe a little bit, Governor Abbott, got some kind of deal where counties or cities will be punished if they don't, if they defund police and stuff, and if we don't we give everybody but the deputies a raise, I believe that is defunding the police.
I think it could be considered as such.
I figured the defund word would be a cheap shot, so I didn't bring that up.
I think we made lots of mistakes, and
If we were trying to straighten some of this out, but we not been what we want to do today.
our intentions were not to do what we
I understand the money
did.
problem too.
And
But
we said a lot of things that we didn't really mean, that the way they were took were not what we meant.
I won't go back to, everybody ought to be thankful to have a job right now. We're in the middle of a drought, we're in the middle of a pandemic. There's a lot of people just struggling. Businesses have lost a lot of their business over all this stuff the last 6 months. And, I know the judge sat here and said the same thing, then he voted for over a 16% raise for his own secretary, so.
And I'll do it again.
We only need to be thankful we have a law enforcement in this county.
You know, I agree with that. And I
Because
don't
that's
think-
what's keeping you safe, your families, everybody else.
And I don't think we're trying to sit up here and try to devalue
Well,
anybody.
no, President, if you
more
sit
than
there and say they
anybody
only
else.
think they got a job, that's devaluing somebody.
Somebody's gotta pay the taxes too, is all I'm trying to say.
I pay my taxes, and I bet everybody in this room does too.
I know that some are struggling with it.
With your permission, I will make the motion to table this until 14 comes over.
I'll second it.
Got a motion and a second, all in favor? Unanimous? Mr. Stewart, item number 4, discuss time blocks.
Well, we discussed it before, and I think we need to make a policy on it. We took, been talking to the TAC attorneys and anyhow, they claim it's our responsibility to decide whether we need a time clock or not. I think it gonna cause more problems than it's worth. It's gonna cost us a lot of money to have them too. And, I think we need to make a policy where if any office feels like they have a problem and they need a time clock, they should have it yourself, but it shouldn't be a one-size-fits-all, and everybody should have one.
I agree. I think every department head is responsible for their own office.
I don't disagree with that. My question is, have they not always been?
Yeah. I had a problem and I got in there and I put a time clock in and I resolved the problem myself. I didn't need anybody else to do it for me.
We don't need to fix problems that don't exist by creating more problems.
Well, so I don't know who put the time clock on the agenda, it wasn't me,
I did,
okay?
because we talked about it before, I think we're supposed to have a policy book, so I think it needs to be done.
So the only reason I think that we should have a time clock is because y'all wanted all of us at the courthouse to have one, but then y'all didn't want your hands to have one.
Well, no.
And it's not fair, just let me speak, it's not fair to do one and not everybody, so you do have to do all or not, I agree with that. I agree
problem we had that people were on salary that were working up here at the courthouse, and I think we fixed the problem, and I don't think there is a problem other than that. I think everybody, I'm proud of everybody up here. I think we got a great bunch of people. I think the problem would be solved with just that. I don't think we need time clocks. If it comes to a point where we do, we can change it then.
Is something we make a motion on or not, or is this another table thing?
It says discuss, I mean, if you want them, I need a motion. Don't want them,
Yeah.
I'll call it. Excuse me, yes, ma'am.
I would like to say a lot of, like, I have, family that works for oil companies and they drive company pickups, and, I know a lot of people that have that. And, they all, like even my husband, he's a pilot, and so, pilots, for his, company, they have GPSs in their planes that they can track and see exactly where they're at, see where they land, they can see, exactly where they're at. And I think that I think a time clock is needed for the road hands. I do. I think that that's a good thing. And, because everybody's held accountable to the same, and, but also, a GPS in the company, in the county vehicles. Because then you can see exactly where they are, if they're, you can pull it up and look at it. It can be a record. And, I just think that I think that that is needed. So there's no abuse or question or anything like that in that area as well.
Any other discussion?
They say it's gonna be like $7,000 just for the courthouse.
I think
Their
that
program.
For the time clocks,
Yeah.
yeah, I think it was like a one-time fee of $7 and so much a year. It wasn't like a tremendous
That's not
amount.
even counting no GPS deals or nothing along that line, so.
The GPS is another, issue, but the GPS, it's budgeted for, and, that's something that my department can cover to put on the trucks,
I-
so.
I can't really see a need in it, cause we know where all our guys are, we ain't got a bunch of folks out there running around. I know, I'm sure the other commissioners like me, they know where the roads are every day, as far as that goes, what jobs they're working on, or what roads they're working on, or if they're working at the barn. And heck, I stay in touch with my guys pretty good. I don't have no question on where they tell me they are, cause every time I went and checked, they've been there. Or been there and done it and gone, done what I asked for, so.
A lot of people will see our hand at home one day and they'll think something, that they're not supposed to be at home doing something they're not supposed to be doing. And we go and fight fires on the weekends and after hours, and like Sunday, we went and got the trailer for the fire department. And so there's sometimes they're not at work. And it looks funny to people outside.
They'll notice too, like on Friday or Saturday or something, back when we had moisture once in a while, you'll will see a grader or two or three out there running around because you actually got something you can, it's a doggone dry right now, it'd be like trying to lay pavement.
We have bridges that fluff off, that cave in with the driveway like this, we have to send our guys up there on Sunday to do it. We're gonna have to start paying them time and a half for little things, if we start putting them on a time clock. It's gonna cost us more, it's gonna save us.
Anyhow, I see no benefit.
Y'all been
in that.
turning in overtime for some of that firework, just FYI. That has been running through payroll, some of that overtime.
I don't see the benefits in time clocks outweighing the expenses and the problems, and I make the motion that we leave it up to each individual office to decide if they need a time clock or not. Not have a countywide policy to have time clocks.
Have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Alright, all in favor? Yes. Unanimous. All right, item number 5, discuss senior center hourly versus salary. Mr. Stewart, you again.
That's another thing that was a question in whether, how
and she has always been salary. We've always left. One thing I would like to comment on, when she became head of that, she said, I do not need insurance. My husband has insurance. So she signed the paper, she gave it back. She's been there 5 years, so she's gave back to the county roughly $50,000. And unless you know something that I don't know, I don't think that thing's broke.
That's exactly
So
what
I
I'm
don't
saying.
know why it's even on it.
Because of that, that's what people were saying. We made a motion or whatever and approved it that we were gonna do away with unelected, salary positions. And I think that one we need to leave alone.
Okay. Because that, if we get into
I don't
that.
think we need to fix what's not broke again.
Okay. So no action to be taken.
Well, I just think we need to clarify that, because we did say that we were gonna do away with all salary positions that were an elected official, and I think we need to keep that one.
So just to be clear, let's make a motion to leave it.
I make the motion that we leave, her salary,
Her position as a
or her position as salary, yes.
As is.
Senior
As is.
citizen.
Yes, senior citizen.
I'll second the motion.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor? Unanimous. Okay, the last item on the agenda today is item number 6. It says discuss and take action on new policy and policy changes. That was put on there verbatim, and there's not enough information on there to take action on that at all. It needs to be more specific. You gotta put the public on notice as to what you're doing. This could be any policy, every policy, and it's not specific enough. Michael, would you address that, please?
Sure, I think you said it, Judge, it's, the public is entitled to know what's being considered here with 3 days' notice. That really could be anything and everything. I think there's, pursuant to the Public Meetings Act, and case law interpreting that, that's kind of unconstitutionally vague and doesn't put the public on notice, because it could really be anything. I'm sorry, I don't mean that as a personal attack, Russ, I even tried to call you Monday to let you a message saying
So
that.
I guess you need to put on there now all policies in, or,
You would need to state the specific policies to be
well, if
addressed.
there's more than one, multiple policy.
You would
every
need
single one.
multiple agenda items to do that, so the public knows exactly what policies are being considered.
All right, we'll table that and move on.
Table it, it needs to come back as a new, more specific. You can't table what's on there because we're not gonna vote. Anything else? If not, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
A motion, have a second.
Second.
All in favor? Thank y'all for coming.
And thank you all for turning the tables around so we can hear. Very good, we appreciate it.
Yeah, compliment the clerk on that.
What?
That was the county clerk.
Oh. Thank you.
Sorry.
Well,
Good
well, I
night.
knew y'all said y'all couldn't hear, so.
Okay, so I gotta ask, why did y'all vote against it?
You can't ask, we're done. We done closed. You can't ask.
Okay, Mr. Stewart. Why did you bring to the agenda, a topic to vote against that you yourself actually brought to the court to discuss in the first place? It was time clocks. You're the one who brought time clocks up.
This is just a.
That was your introduction. Nobody had talked about it until you introduced it. You introduced it, everybody jumped on board and was very excited by the end of the meeting. That was 3 weeks ago. Today you vote against it, saying that it's just the county hands that don't get it. Why is that? It's only the county hands that aren't going to. I mean, you guys said, you did not, no, y'all said you didn't think the county hands needed time clock. But y'all were the ones who.
Everybody needs to address their own problem.
And what problem might that be? A problem that you thought was important enough to introduce time clock. That was your introduction. And today was about salaries, you introduced it. Yeah, but it was you who brought it up. You thought it was a good idea at the time, and now you don't? Yeah, but it was you who started the discussion, is what I'm saying.
I'm glad, so I don't wanna hear more about it. So when Sharon's gone? But I hate to do that to the kid. It's gonna be short film, because I'm. It's a good thing I'm not needed. You did all right. You can make
They have,
social
the
distance.
people have the power to fix
Appreciate
it.
you, appreciate you.
So, just tell them to vote in the new elected official.
That way you can just come on here.
That's true, time clocks don't have anything to do with that. That's bad. I know, that's what I'm saying, is you just voted against something that you were in favor of.
People don't know.
Yes, you did, actually, I have it on the record, video to prove how much you guys were in favor of it just
At
3
home,
weeks
a whole
ago.
lot.
Oh, whenever Norman and I first met.
I'm pretty sure that it wasn't, but I'll be happy to edit all of that video together and show everyone.
Was at home.
Then you find out that they worked all night, you know,
On
they're
the lake.
taking time off.
You thought you were the only one?
I finally complained. Do you know who?
You know, it's always a new day.
He said if you heard anything about the election, and I said, well, yeah, we were in Commissioner's Court. And he says he
Well,
didn't know anything
It was,
about what? About the election and.
I don't know, man.
Were we
I can't be the only one out there who's watching this meeting who had that same question.
Listen, he is.
I think the problem is.
No comment.
Chad is one of those really-
I said, check, did you know somebody?
You're probably right.
I'm fairly confident.
You're positive.
Yeah.
That's not a bad assumption, I would say.
Well, he said, see, what he told me, he called and he said.
Always a new day.
I think it's Norman.
Yeah.
Which we don't send the elections out till like, I'm not supposed to send them out until like the 1st of October.
Yeah.
Because you're not supposed to send them out too early, because then people forget that you.
That's
sent
right.
them
I
to
told him, I said, we're talking about an election in November. I mean, we're not talking
Oh,
about
that's
one.
hilarious, because he did it to me last time,
And
he
he
called me
said,
mad.
well, I don't
I said,
know.
I'm not supposed to,
She
by
said,
law, I'm
I-
not supposed to send it. Okay.
Said, I don't know if she's decided that video long enough or what somebody
We
else.
called him, and said, Joe, we're getting new equipment, we called everybody, we said,
I told him
we're
that.
getting new equipment, do you want to still do it, because we're gonna have to have extra training, because we're getting new equipment. And he told Chad, well, I don't know if I'm gonna wanna do it or not.
Well, he needs to decide.
No, but the
And maybe
statute
you
says
can-
I'm not supposed to spend the
But
week
he's
till
already
October.
talked to Peggy about working it, so if he's doesn't know if he's working it. I figured that would make
He
you
did it
guys.
to me last time too. He
Oh,
went over there.
you should spend from 7 to 7.
No, thanks.
And then he comes over here and he's standing right here, and I finally got
I remember you put your purse on the second, you're putting your stuff last time.
Yeah, he would come and pick up stuff, I mean, like, stuff that we were using all the time. I needed the folder
Yeah.
for the,
Oh, do y'all see the new equipment?
yes.
Hold on, let me throw this in my bag and I'll come back and.
Oh, we'll help you take it down.
Mathes's? How do you feel about the outcome of that meeting?